Hey, Jay here. We got a cool little video for you. We're going to talk about should you ride with your buddies. How many is too many? How many is too low? Here we go. That's our buddy, Ricky. He's gave us some fun adventures over the years. Broke his collarbone in Montana. Can be a little aggressive. As these guys get a little bit older, more into their mid and late 30s, then they tend to know their limits a little better. Riding with a big group of guys, this day, what do we have, 6 guys, Spence?
Yeah.
I think there's six of us total.
Yes.
Spencer and I is the typical group. So anything more than that is different for us. So one of the advantages of a bigger group is it does tend to be, it adds more fun. I think having more guys can add more fun. But also the risk to less fun versus the more fun is higher because more things can go wrong with more guys. So with more guys, something goes wrong, whether somebody didn't prepare their bike well, which is a very common thing. Not everyone maintains their bikes as well as we do and as I do, and so they have a bike problem straight away. And it's something that was preventable, something that they just didn't do good maintenance on or didn't prepare for. That's frustrating. So that can really ruin your ride if you have a bunch of guys. And so you know those guys that don't have their bikes well maintained and things. We know accidents are going to happen on the trail. And you see these trails, these were nice and wet this day. Just epic conditions. Really fun trails in and out of these aspens in the summertime. And it was actually fairly cool for summer, right after the rain. In Utah, Spencer's chasing a little ground squirrel kind of thing right there. What do you think that guy was?
I don't know. It was you that was chasing it.
That was me.
Yeah.
Oh, that's me right there with those yellow gloves, right?
Yep.
And on the gas, which I love this bike. Anyway, now I've had a couple good rides in this thing, and just epic. So that's one of the biggest downsides to the bigger group is the bike situation. The other things that are going to come up that I'm going to talk about, you can get around, but you have a bike problem. Somebody not maintaining their bike well or a problem, it's hard to get around that. You have to deal with that the rest of the day. Whether you're helping them get the bike out of there, towing it, whatever you're trying to do, fix it, it really can cut the day short and really ruin your ride. So that's, I guess, the first thing. If you have those guys with poorly maintained bikes, maybe you look at not inviting those guys. Or if you're in that group,
If you're that guy,
then just ride with those similar guys, and you'll have fun. And I know there's lots of people that they will blame it on the fact that they don't have the resources, the money to maintain their stuff. So what I would suggest, then you stay in groups like that, then everybody's fine if 1 or 2 or 3 of the bikes break during the day. And I know plenty of guys who this happens to regularly. It's just a common deal when they go out that somebody's bike breaks in some way. Some stuff's unavoidable, some flats. Now, guys will tell me they need to run tubeless or mooses or whatever it is. We are pretty happy with the heavy tubes. We get like 1 flat a year or so.
It's usually me.
Usually Spencer. I don't typically get any, knock on wood. It's been a long time, so we've been pretty good. And you can see these are pretty rocky trails. I think right here I was about 30 seconds away from a heart attack if I hadn't stopped in here. You get breathing so hard, and I think the biggest problem is you hold your breath. Okay, so that's the first part of the bikes. The second part is skill set. You want the group to be pretty close in skill set. If there's a guy that's a lot faster or better rider, like say Spencer is, I'd rather have somebody like that in our group than somebody that's way off the pace and is going to crash, break their bike, have somebody ride it up a ton of the bad sections. So that's tough. So that's the next thing is skill set. I think it's good to try to partner up with guys that are similar skill set. And in this group today, on this ride, I was probably in the middle of the group or right or at the bottom part of the group, but we're all pretty close. Everybody's pretty good. No one's going too crazy. Like I said, luckily Ricky's gotten his hard crashes out of the way, and so that's been good. So you want a group that's pretty close in skill set and can work together well. You want guys that also aren't going to show up late to the ride and be the guy that just is not considerate of everybody else. How fun are these water crossings?
They're pretty cool.
This is easier later in the season. When I try to keep my feet dry. That's a big. It's not to look cool, because you definitely don't look cool doing it that way. But it's definitely nice to keep your feet dry. Once you get them wet the rest of the day, you're all mushroomed out, and your feet are pruned out, right?
Yeah.
And your feet and your toes and stuff. So this stuff's a little rockier than I like, but luckily it's not a very long. It's not like 30 miles of it or something. It's just a few miles of really rocky stuff. Ricky's on the 2-stroke there and having a good time. His brother Joe's ahead of him, and these guys just 10 years back could barely really ride this kind of stuff, and have really progressed, gotten a lot better on the trails, and now both as good or better than me. Joe's probably substantially better than me, but also being 6'11" or whatever he is helps a ton, right? But he still can't ride the track, so I got something on him, right? But he's really good on the trail, doing really well. He's on a 350, he loves it, and doing well. So the next thing I will talk about as far as groups go is guys paying attention to which way to go on the trail. We've had this problem a lot where guys get lost. That can really sabotage your day when you're spending 30 minutes looking for a guy, or 40 minutes or whatever, an hour. It can really mess you up. So you want to have a system in place where you stay close. Most summer trail riding in the mountains in different places is dusty. Most places it's just going to be dusty. So you have to come up with a plan where we like to meet at each junction, have somebody wait, put up their hand. He waits for the next guy, then that guy sits there and waits for the next guy, and then that guy takes off. You can come up with a system. As long as whatever system you come up with works for you guys, that can be really fun. And keep it safer and not get the group separated. That's a big problem, is getting the group separated. Another one of the fun things here, you see I'm on a different bike. How'd that happen, Smith?
Well,
I'm on a 300 2-stroke, right?
We had a Shurko.
And we were poking around finding this trail that we found a year or two before this. We found this trail, kind of fun little hidden trail. And what's fun with a group, if you have a group of cool guys, you can. I'm thinking about it. Oh, okay.
Nice.
All right.
Oh, did you clear it? Yeah, you're good. You're good.
Okay.
Yeah, good job.
Go. All right. Slowly.
Right.
Yeah. I got
You've got this one for sure.
29 inches.
There we go.
How about this one?
Let's see it.
Oh!
Well, what happened there,
I forgot about this.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh!
That's kind of embarrassing.
Don't tell him I did that to his bike.
Which guy's? He sold it already.
He sold it. Okay.
Yeah, don't worry.
So
whoever bought it from him.
Well, I think that was one of many crashes on that bike.
Sure.
So one of the fun things about going with a group of guys is swapping bikes and we're going to do a little shootout. We didn't really get much into it, but we did a little shootout with the bikes. There was a couple 2-strokes. We didn't get really enough time, and the Shurko carburetor wasn't jetted well. Because I know that bike can be a lot better, so I just didn't have great jetting in it that day. And here I'm on the, what am I back on?
You're
one of
on
ours.
my
yeah.
366 or
Okay.
350.
So I rode the KTM TPI 300, and it actually runs pretty well. It was actually a gas, right, of Ricky's?
It was
TPI's bike. And so that bike was good. So it is kind of fun swapping around bikes. Sometimes guys don't like to get off their bike, and motocross, I really don't. But on the trail, I don't mind getting off for even if it's just 5 minutes. Hey, 5 minutes we'll swap around bikes. Sometimes it's good to spend 20 or 30 minutes, and you learn what you like better about somebody else's bike, or
get grateful for your own.
Yeah, you hop on your bike, and you're like, my bike's way better. That's usually what happens because you're so used to your bike. But also, you will learn. Sometimes you can come off and go, hey, the suspension on that bike is way better than mine. If you're looking at it objectively, and you'll go, hey, I like that. So that's something that's really cool about going out with a big group of guys. Now, we went out with a dual sport group, had over 30 guys on tight trails, and it was way too many. I think, what do you think, 8 would probably be like a max group size for you?
I think 6 is max for me.
Spencer's like 6. Okay.
6. I can't handle more
especially
than 6
with dust. I think that's a big problem. So, and I think the minimum obviously is 2 on trail ride stuff. You shouldn't be out totally all by yourself. So 2 would be minimum. 3 makes it really nice because if somebody were to get hurt, you have a third person that can go back while somebody's staying with the guy. You have a little bit of a buffer zone to where you can help people. If it's just 2 of you, you don't have a lot of room to help each other. So
if you're both good riders, I think two can work. But
yeah. And I wouldn't tell people not to ride with 2 people. I mean, you got something, and hopefully you got some communication devices, that kind of thing. But I think the minimum is obviously 2, and 3 is an ideal group. When we've had 3, it's really fun. It's enough of a group, and so then anywhere. So I'd say 3 to 6 is probably ideal. I do think probably more than 6 is getting to be too much, especially in the dusty conditions. So anyway, really fun. Hope you enjoyed some of that cool footage up in the Utah mountains in the summertime, and hopefully you can get out riding with your buddies here soon. So enjoy.